It roared like thunder and every species in the chamber flinched, every species except the human. The apex predator, Tsar, bred for annihilation, raised its clawed forelimb high as if ready to strike. The ambassadorial chamber erupted in a panic. Chairs toppled, guards surged forward, translators glitched mid-sentence. Delegates from 9 species screamed simultaneously in 7 different languages. Marcus Wren, junior tech specialist from Earth's Orbital Infrastructure Division, just blinked. He was holding a half-eaten protein bar. "Whoa, chill. You okay, big guy?" That was all he said. And that was when Tsar, the terror of the Scytheborn Empire, alpha strain of the Prime bloodline, the nightmare told to rebellious hatchlings to scare them into obedience, sat down. Dead silent. Everyone froze. It was not possible. And yet it was happening. 12 feet of genetically perfect muscle, engineered for violence and conditioned to obey only its Scytheborn masters, now regarded Marcus Wren with the relaxed posture of a house pet waiting for treats. Ambassador Velrix, a Lithari aide, whispered in horror. The death beast just submitted. Correct, Velrix rasped, eyes wide and shimmering in horror. It just sat like a good boy. And Tsar wasn't just sitting. It was purring. A low, tremorous vibration that shook the floor tiles. A war engine, a living bioweapon, now producing the sound a contented feline might make after a nap. Marcus looked around, chewing slowly. Is this bad? 5 hours earlier, Marcus had been stuffing emergency snack bars into his duffel at Earth Fleet Dock C-11. He wasn't supposed to go on this trip. Someone in PR had accidentally filed a name mix-up after his division won a Mental Wellness Excellence Award. Instead of Commander Marcus Wren, hero of the Battle of Daedalus Station, the invite had gone to Specialist Marcus Wren, tech support for orbital beacons around Europa. He hadn't even noticed. Free space trip? Check. First-class rations? Check. A week off real work? Double check. The briefing had been minimal. Represent Earth, don't start wars, and try not to speak unless addressed. No one warned him about the giant murder lizard. Ambassador Velrix, of the Korlathi Diplomatic Corps, had been the one to suggest the idea. A casual inclusion of a non-critical observer from Earth to appease the fledgling Terran delegation. A show of good faith. Harmless. At least, it had seemed harmless until Tsar had knelt. The Scytheborn, notorious for their xenophobia and militaristic pride, had brought Tsar as a display of dominance. The unspoken threat. Their species' pride made flesh and fangs. It had been bred in biolabs older than Earth's moon bases, taught tactics before most species learned fire, and conditioned to attack anything that posed a potential challenge. It was supposed to terrify. It was supposed to dominate the room. But it was staring at Marcus like a lovesick puppy. "We are so screwed," hissed Senator Klern of the Vashti League. Velrix held a shaking translator sphere close to his mandibles. "Specialist Wren, may I speak with you privately?" Marcus stood there, confused but obliging, as Tsar rose beside him like a bodyguard. Velrix flinched. "Perhaps without the creature?" Tsar growled. "On second thought, bring the creature," Velrix said quickly. They ushered him into a side chamber, 3 guards trailing, 2 medics standing by. Tsar followed, still making that deep, resonant purring. Marcus sat. Tsar loomed protectively behind him. Velrix struggled to maintain composure. "Mr. Wren," Velrix began. "You are aware of the creature behind you?" Marcus blinked. "You mean Tsar?" "Yeah, we met. He sniffed me and licked my ear." A pause. Velrix twitched. "That is not typical behavior. He is not supposed to sniff. Or lick. Maybe he's just lonely? I dunno. I had a dog once. Same energy." Tsar purred louder. Velrix muttered something in his native tongue that sounded like a desperate prayer. We must understand something, Mr. Wren. This beast has slaughtered entire pirate enclaves. It once cracked a battleship hull with its forehead. And now it's acting like it's adopted you." Marcus leaned back. "Weird. That happens sometimes. Animals just like me. He is not an animal. Velrix snapped, then immediately recoiled. I mean, apologies. But this could destabilize interstellar relations. Zar tensed. Marcus raised a hand. Easy, big guy. No one's getting hurt. Zar relaxed. Velrix looked like he was about to faint. As word spread, chaos bloomed. News feeds lit up across sectors. Earthling tames Apex bioweapon. Deathworlder becomes Beast Whisperer. Scytheborn Empire humiliated. The Scytheborn High Delegate, Kravosh the Ruthless, stormed into the diplomatic dome 2 hours later, armor plates clicking with fury. Behind her, 8 warrior scions carried ceremonial blades and plasma flails. All eyes turned. And Zar whimpered. The monster that had torn warlords in half backed up behind Marcus. Kravosh snarled. What is this heresy? Marcus looked up. Hi. You dare claim the loyalty of our guardian beast? I didn't do anything. Marcus protested. He just followed me. Kravosh's eyes narrowed. Then give the order. Make him attack me. Marcus blinked. What? If he is yours now, command him. Prove it. Zar growled. Low. Dangerous. Marcus turned to Zar. Hey, don't attack her, okay? Zar lowered his head and rumbled. Kravosh's eyes widened. Velrix collapsed into a chair. Klern vomited into a translator dish. 2 more hours, and the first assassination attempt occurred. A rogue Litari agent disguised as a diplomat lunged toward Marcus with a crystalline dagger. The moment his foot crossed the 8-meter safety buffer, Zar moved. There was no roar, no flourish, just motion. One moment the attacker was airborne, the next he was mist. Red particles sprayed the observation windows. Zar returned to Marcus's side and curled up like a cat. Marcus didn't move. He just finished his protein bar. That night, locked in a reinforced diplomatic suite, Marcus stared out at the moons of Jolly's prime. Zar lay at his feet. Why me? He asked softly. Zar blinked once. Slowly. Then exhaled. Marcus sighed. You're not a monster, are you? Zar tilted his head. You were made to kill. But maybe, you just wanted someone not to fear you. Zar let out a soft whine. Marcus reached out and scratched behind its ear. Zar wagged its tail. Marcus laughed. Elsewhere, command channels burned with urgency. Intelligence reports flooded in. Other Apex units, lesser cousins of Zar, had begun exhibiting erratic behavior. A few refused to obey orders. Some mimicked Earth martial arts moves. One tried to speak. One even built a nest of pillows and wouldn't leave until it was shown a video of Marcus Wren. Earth had accidentally become the center of a new psychological arms race. The next morning, things escalated. The Scytheborn held an emergency session. Kravosh stood before the assembly. We demand custody of the human. Murmurs. You mean to assassinate him? Cried a Velari delegate. Silence, Beetle, Kravosh hissed. We mean to study the anomaly. Secure our defenses. Our apex line has been compromised. Or elevated, muttered the Litari diplomat, now missing an aide. Velrix tried to mediate. Let us consult the Terran authority. But Talia Mendez, Earth's new chief ambassador, walked into the room, flanked by 2 Terran Marines and a smiling Marcus. No need, she said coolly. Earth will provide full cooperation. But Marcus Wren remains under Earth's protection. Kravosh growled. Then war may come. Zar stepped forward. Just one step. Every species in the chamber tensed. And Kravosh hesitated. Zar stood behind Marcus, tail gently curling around the human's legs. His stance was clear. Marcus was his. The chamber fell into stunned silence. Then someone whispered, the human commands the monster. Another said, no. The monster found its human. Talia smiled. I suggest we find a peaceful solution. Zar purred. And for once, no one objected. Back in the diplomatic quarters, Marcus slumped onto a couch. Any chance I can just go back to fixing orbital beacons? Talia shook her head. You're a strategic asset now. Zar flopped beside him with a soft rumble. Yeah, Marcus sighed. Figured. And as the sun set over the domes of Jolly's Prime, somewhere across the stars, a dozen apex creatures stirred in their pens, sniffing the air, sensing something had changed. Not fear. Not orders. Something older. Something stronger. Loyalty. 3 assassination attempts in 24 hours was officially a record, even for Earth's diplomatic corps. Let me get this straight, Marcus said, half buried under a reinforced sofa while alarms howled. Someone just tried to teleport a bomb into my pocket? Technically, the lining of your jacket, replied Ambassador Talia Mendez from her crouch beside him. It was disguised as a souvenir coin. Vashti Nanotech, shaped like your commemorative Earth Peace medallion. Marcus exhaled and looked at Zar. The beast had yanked him down the moment the alert sounded, throwing 2 guards across the room and batting a laser net into the ceiling. It now stood between Marcus and the blown-out door, its hide sizzling from plasma burns it didn't seem to notice. You good? Marcus asked. Zar made a guttural sound somewhere between a purr and the clicking of tectonic plate. We need to move, Talia snapped, pulling him up. This wasn't just a scare tactic. Someone's escalating. No kidding. My coat tried to explode me. She tapped her earpiece. Get us to fallback suite 12. Full seal. Now. As they moved, flanked by Marines and shadowed by Zar like a thundercloud, Marcus found himself wondering, not for the first time, how in the galaxy this had become his life. 3 days ago, he'd been rerouting a fried solar array outside Europa Station, bored and floating in zero-G with a wrench in his teeth. Now he was a political flashpoint. No, worse, a galactic myth catalyst. There were rumors Zar had not just bonded to him, but worshipped him. Some claimed Earth had found the secret to taming scythe-born biobeasts, and that Marcus was the first handler. They were wrong, of course. He was just Marcus, a techie who fixed things, who knew a little about dogs, less about diplomacy, and nothing at all about apex predator psychology. Except, somehow, Zar listened to him. And now others wanted to find out why. Or kill him trying. As the diplomatic compound's new security suite locked down, walls humming with active energy shielding, Talia pulled up a series of reports on her holoscreen and turned to Marcus. We have a problem, she said. No kidding. A new problem. We intercepted communications between Scytheborn strategists and rogue Litari factions. They're trying to breed a Zar 2.0. Marcus blinked. Isn't that your problem? Diplomats and generals and such. Talia gave him a flat look. You don't get it, do you? They think Zar has ascended. That by bonding with you, it evolved. Now they want their own human. Marcus nearly choked. Like a pet? Like a key. To unlocking control of Apex Unit. To mastering loyalty through fearlessness. They're even spreading propaganda vids now. She played one. The screen flickered. Marcus watched a dramatized cartoon of himself in heroic armor, striding into an arena surrounded by monsters, as Zar bowed and chanted Alpha 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 in a voice suspiciously like a modulated lion. Okay, that's horrifying. It's going viral, she said grimly. They're calling you the Beast Tamer. Some cultures have even started rituals imitating your gestures. The way you patted Zar's head? Yeah, it's now a sacred greeting on 2 moons. Marcus stood up. I didn't ask for this. I just exist. I literally offered it half a protein bar. And it gave you its soul, Talia muttered. Problem is, others want that loyalty too. And they think the way to earn it is to steal you. Meanwhile, Zar sat in the center of the suite, surrounded by Earth Marines, meditating. Meditating. It had copied Marcus's pose from earlier that morning. Legs crossed, arms resting on thighs, eyes closed. Its breathing came in slow, seismic pulses. Is it learning mindfulness? Asked Corporal Juno, staring from a safe distance. Marcus rubbed his face. I did a 5-minute breathing exercise while waiting for coffee. Now it thinks it's a religious rite. Zar opened one eye and growled in what could only be interpreted as Namaste. Yup, Juno said. We're all gonna die. Elsewhere in the galaxy, strange reports filtered in. A Zar cousin on Kethros, 5 refused to return to its handler unless it was shown Marcus's image first. A young Scytheborn soldier attempted to mimic Marcus's smile and got devoured by his own war beast, who took it as a threat gesture. An underground black market was selling fake Marcus merchandise, including hair strands, teeth, and genetic imprint kits, none of them real, all of them terrifying. Earth was now a legend. Marcus was a myth. And Zar was the apex no one dared challenge, because it had chosen something more dangerous than strength. Affection. They're trying to kidnap me, Marcus said an hour later, lying on a bunk, Zar curled protectively at his side. Talia paced nearby. Not trying. Planning. We've already stopped 4 teams. Scytheborn dissidents. Vashti mercenaries. Someone even sent a cloned Marcus, bad one. Teeth on the outside. Marcus winced. Gross. Talia sighed. We're not safe here. So what's the plan? We leak your death. He blinked. Excuse me. We fake an assassination. Blast a few chunks of your corpse into orbit. Let the galaxy think you're gone. Zar will rage, then vanish. You two will be transported to a deep-sea bunker on Earth. Off-grid. Marcus glanced at Zar. He's not going to like that. No. He'll love it. He'll get to be with you without people throwing bombs at your jacket. Zar rumbled contentedly in his sleep. Marcus looked back at Talia. You think this will actually stop them? She hesitated. No. But it'll buy us time. And it'll let us flip the game. How? She leaned in. Because while they're mourning your death, we'll be training you. Marcus blinked. In what? Diplomacy? In how to control him. The next day, the plan went into motion. Explosives rigged. Dummy body prepared. Hair samples implanted. A tearful broadcast released by Earth's ambassador, claiming Marcus died heroically saving 2 delegates from a second assassination attempt. Zar's performance was terrifying. He roared. Wrecked a wall. Tore through an empty shuttle like tissue paper. Shouted Marcus's name in a voice that shattered 3 windows. Then vanished into space, hidden in a stealth pod. 100 news outlets ran with the headline, Beast's bond broken, the human is dead. Grief swept through sympathetic species. The Scytheborn celebrated. And in the shadows, Marcus trained. Deep beneath the Atlantic, in a pressure-sealed Terran bunker, Marcus now lived in a compound with Zar and a team of neuroempathy specialists, combat advisors, and one increasingly concerned military therapist. You do realize, said Dr. Beckett, watching the monitor, that Zar's brainwaves sync with yours when you sleep? Marcus chewed a cereal bar. He snores in perfect harmony with me. You're forming a telepathic empathy bridge. Low-grade but real. Marcus shrugged. Cool. Beckett stared. This should not be happening. Marcus turned to Zar, who was currently watching a YouTube compilation of sea otters. You think we're bonded too deep? Zar blinked once and licked his hand. Yeah, Marcus said. Me neither. The military instructors were less enthusiastic. Again, barked Lieutenant Havers. Command tone. Clear. Alpha cadence. Marcus stood on a hoverpad, trying not to drop the weird electrowhip. Zar, heel. Zar blinked and laid down instead. Zar, roll. Zar launched into a backflip. Zar, attack the drone. Zar sniffed the drone, then batted it into orbit. Zar, dance. Zar started twerking. Havers gave up. What is that thing? Marcus shrugged. My best friend, I guess. Back on Jolly's Prime, the conspiracy unraveled. Talia, still operating under deep cover, had quietly exposed several anti-Earth alliances. She caught 3 Shadow Councils red-handed plotting to capture Marcus's DNA for mass cloning. The Scytheborn government disavowed Kravosh entirely and issued a formal apology to Earth. And then came the wildcard. An alien delegation arrived from a previously unknown sector. Tall, silver-skinned, glowing eyes, pure energy beings. They requested one thing: audience with the one who commands the beast. Talia blinked. You mean Marcus? No, said the leader. The one chosen by the Apex. The Universal Bonded. She called Earth immediately. Marcus, pack your things. We're going public again. When Marcus emerged from deep cover, the galaxy trembled. Zar walked beside him, calm, alert, glowing with subtle bioenergy. They returned not as joke or myth, but as something new. A symbol. Not of dominance. Of connection. Species who bred monsters now asked how to earn trust. Factions once ruled by fear now studied kindness as a tool of control. Because Marcus, the accidental tourist, the tech who offered a protein bar and scratched behind a killer's ear, had broken centuries of conditioning. With no weapon, no command chip, just humanity. In the final chamber of the new diplomatic summit, the energy beings offered Marcus a gift. A sphere of condensed empathy, encoded with emotional memory from 10,000 peaceful civilizations. Marcus turned to Zar. Zar pressed its forehead to the sphere. And something ancient and broken inside it healed. Talia smiled, watching the crowd. You didn't tame a monster, Marcus. He looked up. No. You gave it a reason not to be one. The moment Marcus stepped onto the Unity Summit stage, everything changed. Thousands of delegates stood in silence. Holograms broadcast his image to billions. On every screen, every surface across 5 galaxies, the human who had tamed the untamable stood side by side with the apex predator once known only for death. And behind the calm, silent awe, fear. Because Zar wasn't just following Marcus. He was guarding him like a god. Energy pulsed around the apex's massive frame. Bioelectric surges that warbled security scanners and triggered automatic weapons into standby mode. Plasma cannons on orbiting dreadnoughts had been quietly angled toward Earth's delegation, just in case. Dozens of species had issued emergency protocols in the event of a Zar rampancy. But none of that happened. Marcus stepped forward, adjusted his sleeves, and cleared his throat. Hi. Zar sat behind him, tail gently coiled like a snake across the floor. And the room held its breath. In the weeks since Marcus's reappearance, everything had accelerated. The Alliance wanted to honor him. The Scytheborn wanted to erase him. The galaxy wanted to understand him. And in the shadows, someone else wanted to use him. The attack came not from outside, but from within. The Valari Chancellor stood to offer a greeting, standard ceremony, protocol, all routine. But Marcus blinked. Something was wrong. Zar's body went rigid. Head low. Claws slightly extended. Marcus saw the Chancellor's right eye flicker, just once, an imperfect disguise. Zar, Marcus whispered. Now. The apex beast erupted forward like a kinetic bomb. In less than a second, the false Chancellor was airborne, throat torn open, synthetic skin peeling away to reveal a drone, a biomechanical infiltrator laced with neurotoxin dispersers and spike detonators. Screams exploded across the summit floor. Guards surged. Zar threw the corpse into a wall so hard it cratered the alloy. Then turned, crouched low, and roared, not in anger, in warning. The summit chamber froze. Marcus stood still as the beast rose to its full height beside him, shoulders heaving, fangs bared. And every being in the room understood. No one touches the human. The infiltrator wasn't just an assassin. It was the opening act of something much worse. In orbit, 6 stealth ships decloaked. No transponder codes. No affiliation. But their tech screamed Scytheborn design. They moved fast, launching gravity disruptors aimed at the summit's planetary shield. One punch, and every diplomat on the surface would die. The only warning came from Zar. Not from instruments, not from Earth's surveillance net, but from the Apex's primal senses. He growled. Then he howled. Marcus didn't ask. Go, he said. Tsar launched himself through the ceiling, plasma shearing off his armored hide as he tore a hole straight into the sky. Talia's voice hit his earpiece. 5 hostiles inbound, no ID. Marcus, what the hell just happened? He sensed them. He's going up. Up where? To stop the war. In orbit, the stealth ships never stood a chance. Tsar streaked through space like a comet of violence. He didn't need air. He didn't need instructions. All he needed was one thought: protect the bond. The first ship went dark in seconds. A rent tore through its hull like it was paper. The second tried to target him. Its systems jammed. Tsar punched through the bridge and tore the pilot out with one claw. The third ship deployed an AI-controlled virus drone. Tsar ate it. Literally. The fourth, in desperation, ejected its reactor. Tsar grabbed the core and hurled it into the fifth. Both exploded. The sixth ship tried to flee. It didn't make it far. Down below, chaos raged. Some delegates ran. Others prepared counterattack. Panic turned to confusion, then awe, then stillness as the orbital feed displayed what every species had feared. Tsar alone had destroyed a fleet. Marcus stood silent in the center of it all, heart pounding, hands trembling. Not from fear, but from recognition. This wasn't just defense anymore. This was a message. The Scytheborn were watching too. In their black fortress of fire and bone, General Kravash stood with her claws dug into the command table. Every display fed her one truth. Tsar had broken his chains. And Marcus was his alpha now. How? Hissed one of her war chiefs. How did he override the apex instinct? He didn't override it, Kravash growled. He replaced it. What do you mean? She didn't force the beast to obey. He earned it. Talia's ship intercepted Marcus within the hour. Tsar returned, slightly scorched, still steaming from atmospheric re-entry. He walked aboard like a king returning from battle. Marcus met him in the cargo bay. Did you kill them all? Tsar blinked, then lowered his head. Yes, Marcus said quietly. Good. Talia appeared behind him. We have a bigger problem. She handed him a datapad. The headline read, Tsar declares war. Earth's beast begins unilateral military actions. Marcus exhaled. They think I ordered him. No. They think you're not human anymore. He blinked. Come again. They think you've merged. That you're something new. A hybrid mind. A Zhu-man, they're calling it. Half predator. Half man. He looked at the massive creature beside him. Tsar sat like a loyal dog, but his eyes burned with intelligence. Maybe they weren't wrong. The next summit was closed doors. Only 10 species allowed. Talia and Marcus stood together in the chamber. This is our chance, she whispered. You speak. You show them who you are. Or they burn Earth to the bedrock to make sure you're not building an army. Marcus looked out at the delegate. Some furious, some terrified, all silent. And he began. I'm not a leader, he said. I'm not a warrior. I was a tech specialist. I fix things. He turned to Tsar. I fixed something broken. Not with tools. With time. With respect. Tsar purred quietly. I didn't tame him. I didn't conquer him. I just treated him like a person. There was a murmur. Marcus stepped forward. And if that scares you, if basic empathy scares you, then maybe you're the monsters. Silence. Then, one of the delegates stood. A small, thin species. No claws, no armor. Can we learn it too? That question shattered centuries of fear. Others began to rise. Questions flew. What did you feed him? What does trust feel like to a creature like that? Would he bond to more than one? Is Earth creating more? No, Marcus said. Tsar chose. You can't breed that. You earn it. The room was quiet. Then the Scytheborn envoy stepped forward. Kravash herself. She bowed low. Not to Marcus. To Tsar. We wish to learn, she said. And Tsar growled in approval. Hours later, alone in the quarters Earth provided, Marcus sat beside the beast. "I think you changed the galaxy," he whispered. Zar curled around him. "You want a snack?" Zar's ears perked up. Marcus smiled. "Yeah. Still you in there." He tossed a protein bar. Zar caught it with one claw. But far away, beyond the rim of known space, something else watched. A species older than Scytheborn. One that once ruled through apex monsters and forgotten technologies. Their last war beast stirred in its cryo-prison. It growled once. Its eyes snapped open. A new apex had risen. And it would not be dethroned. It didn't arrive in a ship. It was the ship. A living engine the size of a moon, carved from obsidian biomatter and laced with necrotech arteries, drifted into known space like a god rising from a grave. It gave no signals, no warnings, only silence. And the galaxy remembered. Eons ago, before the Scytheborn, before the Alliance, before even the first Deathworlders looked up at the stars in fear, this thing had ruled. A species known only in myth, the architects of Apex. They bred predators not for war, but for dominion. Their beasts didn't just kill. They made empires kneel. One such beast still lived. And it was awake now. "Contact in T-30, Talia said. Her voice was controlled. Barely. Marcus stood in the command bay of Earth's flagship carrier Resolute Horizon, watching the horror approach. His pulse pounded like war drums. Zar stood beside him. But not behind him. This time, Zar stood with him. Their armor had been fitted side by side. Marcus wore a reinforced hybrid suit, human tech fused with Zar's bioshell DNA. It pulsed with warmth. Symbiosis. Harmony. "Are we sure it's targeting us?" Marcus asked. Talia nodded. It sent one signal. Translated from neural residue. Challenge accepted. "Well," Marcus said. "Shit." The Architect's war beast dropped out of its ship like a falling mountain, streaking through atmosphere at terminal velocity. It landed in the ruins of Novaterra, an abandoned testing colony, and the shockwave registered on seismic monitors in orbit. Zar snarled. It wasn't fear. It was recognition. Marcus adjusted his gauntlet. "Is it another like you?" Zar didn't answer. He stared. And Marcus understood. This was the first. The alpha of alphas. High Command debated evacuation. Talia said no. "This is our moment," she told them. "We've spent generations afraid of apex monsters. We built weapons, treaties, Deathworld quarantines, but none of it stopped the fear. Now we have one who chose peace." She nodded toward Marcus. "Let him finish what history started." The drop pod ejected with a scream through atmosphere. Marcus stood inside, armored and calm. Zar crouched beside him, claws twitching, tail flicking like a cat before a kill. They hit ground like thunder. Dust exploded around them. Across the crater, the architect beast stood. 4 stories tall. Jet black, with tendrils of bone and muscle writhing across its hide. No eyes. No face. Just mouth. Thousands. Always moving. Marcus whispered. "Zar, if you have any battle advice, now's the time." Zar stepped forward. And bowed. Marcus frowned. "Okay, that's not encouraging." But it wasn't submission. It was challenge. The ancient beast roared. Zar roared back. And the final duel began. The architect beast moved like gravity itself, unstoppable. It smashed through debris, slicing the air with whips of matter turnblade. Everything it touched twisted, melted, or died. Zar intercepted its first blow head-on. The ground cracked. Marcus barely stayed upright. He sprinted around the edges of the battlefield, feeding Zar targeting data, heat signatures, momentum cues. Zar adapted instantly. They were a two-being war machine. Zar leapt, clawed, snapped. The ancient beast countered with hive-mind ferocity, shifting its form with each blow. Spines grew where claws landed. Eyes opened where Zar struck. Marcus threw flares. Zar blinded it. Marcus yelled wind speeds. Zar used gusts to shift weight midair. They danced. Not as predator and prey, but as partners. Then, the beast spoke. Not in words. In feelings. Marcus stumbled as the thing's presence hit his mind like ice. Return. Zar flinched. Obey. Marcus saw Zar's legs tremble. Submit. And Zar began to bow. No, Marcus shouted. The beast pulsed with power. Marcus felt memories not his own. Pain. Bondage. Centuries of command and cruelty burned into Zar's blood. Zar cried out. Marcus ran. He slammed his hand onto Zar's armored shoulder. You don't obey it. Not anymore. Zar shuddered. You're not a weapon. You're you. Zar raised his head. The old beast screamed. Marcus didn't back away. He pulled off his gauntlet, pressed his bare palm to Zar's hide, and whispered, Let's end this. What happened next would be studied for centuries. Zar didn't strike the beast. He merged. A flare of blue-white energy erupted as the architect code tried to overwrite Zar's neural map, and failed. Because Marcus was in there. And his mind did what humanity always did. It adapted. Zar surged with something the architect species never understood. Will. Not imposed. Shared. Together, Marcus and Zar moved as one. They struck with clarity. Speed. Choice. The beast reeled. For the first time in a million years, it feared. Its tendrils faltered. Its body began to unravel. And Zar roared. Not in rage. In freedom. The final strike cleaved through the ancient predator, tearing legacy from bone. Its final psychic cry echoed into the void. How? And Marcus answered in thought. We stopped being tools. The crater was silent. Then Marcus fell to one knee, breathing hard. Zar limped beside him, bleeding green-blue ichor, one eye swollen, 3 ribs shattered. Marcus grinned. That sucked. Zar rumbled in agreement. Back in orbit, the transmission went out live. The apex beast defeated. By a bond. Not a leash. Weeks later, the council met again. This time, there were no weapons. No bodyguards. Just open halls. Zar walked beside Marcus through the center. Delegates bowed. Even the Scytheborn. Especially the Scytheborn. Marcus took the stage. I'm not here to lecture, he said. I'm not here to rule. He turned to Zar. I'm here because we stopped fearing each other long enough to listen. A long silence. Then the Lithari speaker stepped forward and removed her armor. She kneeled. One by one, others followed. They were not bowing to dominance. They were acknowledging change. Later, in Earth's gardens, on a new peace colony named Bondspire, Marcus sat by a lake. Zar lounged nearby, surrounded by small children who threw sticks and fruit his way. He caught both. Marcus sipped tea and smiled. Talia joined him. Did you ever think this would be your life? She asked. I thought I'd die resetting satellites. Now you teach monster diplomacy. He chuckled. What happened to the universe? She nodded toward Zar. You. Some say the architect's ship still floats in the dark. But none dare approach it. Because the beast that killed the first monster is still out there. Not hunting. Watching. And humanity? They didn't just gain fear. They earned reverence. Because on that day, the galaxy learned that the most dangerous predator is not the one with fangs, but the one who makes the monster choose peace.